this is it. This is the final day for the For More for Life campaign as we move toward a change that we can believe in. And I trust that you have been taking notes and that you have shared this podcast as well as broadcast with a friend. Don't forget now our new website, www.sibnradio-by-selectusatv.com. That's www.sibnradio-by-selectusatv.com. This is what it's been all about. Making every effort not to make a New Year's resolution, but to be resolute. Not to talk about change, but to enact it. To be a change agent. To force others to adjust to us, and not always we're adjusting to others and their situations. This is the Coach's Corner. Thank you so very much for joining us, and we surely appreciate you being on board. Don't forget now to follow us on Twitter. Thank you to all of you that have been following us on Twitter as the result of the podcast series, as well as the broadcast block timing on the new website, www.sibntelevision.com, as well as sibnradio-by-selectusatv.com. There's two websites, www.sibntelevision.com and www.sibnradio-by-selectusatv.com. Thank you so much. For those of you that have been following us on Spreaker audience, thank you so very much. Kind of quiet sometimes, but we understand that you're growing, and we hope that we are earning the right to speak into your life. And we need some reviews on this series as we wind down. We want to hear how the series has impacted you, and we're going to be doing some other things with the series to further implement the strategies and tactics that we discussed so many of them. 30 days of strategies and tactics, assuredly very, very impactful, and you're going to hear more of it throughout the year and the years to come. This will be the staple for the Coach's Corner, the For More for Life campaign, 4M, 4L, Change Campaign. Double C is Change Campaign. Single C is Campaign, For More for Life campaign. And copyrighted by yours truly, Marcus Select, a.k.a. The Coach. Want to get some feedback from you? Go to www.sibnradio-by-selectusatv. You'll see a chat room there, and you can leave questions there on the new chat room there, and you can also leave your comments. You can be anonymous if you want to, or you can sign up for your name to be on the screen, name to be on there, and by all means you can always email us globalcoverage@selectusatv.info so that we can share your thoughts perhaps on air. Let us know that if you don't want us to share it, say this is between the coach and you and the coach, and we'll keep it confidential. But all means we want to hear from you. Because our every effort is to be better. It's just that plain and simple. Our every effort is to be better. And if we're better, then the people around us are better. If we're more personally secure, then the people around us have more security. If we're more personally excellent, then the people around us have a pool of excellence from which they can draw. I always say that you cannot change others. Others often aggregate and agitate us ourselves to change. Don't know if that was grammatically correct, but I meant exactly what I said. Sometimes in the frustration of trying to solve something, we forget that we are the common denominator in every situation. There's a couple of other common denominators in situations too, but I'm not at liberty to go into that right now, because though this show does disseminate spiritual principle, we try to walk the line, because everyone listening may or may not be a born-again Christian, and That does not mean to say that a born again Christian doesn't have issues by far. But what we're saying is we try to restrain ourselves and allow the wisdom to emanate from us in such a way that anyone could listen and it could be a palatable conversation. I remember Paul, just to use a biblical example, Paul in the book of Philippians, chapter 4, thereabouts, Paul's skill was his ability to change language and engage in conversations in his day on a global scale. Most people don't know that. Most people don't understand Paul's ministry, but one of the things that I like about Paul is that he engaged people where they were, conversationally speaking. He engaged people where they were. And then at the end of his conversation, he gave purpose to his cause and his passion for Christ. And I'll leave that just where it is. Today we want to just wrap up. I hope that you have decided to run for more. Most of us are on autopilot, meaning that the human experience always wants more in life and for life. But I hope that you at least made a conscious decision to run for more for life, to secure the votes, to secure the nomination, to secure the votes, to get ready for the general election of your life. I felt that right there. To get ready for the general election of your purpose and destiny, and to, as my partner always says, and stop living your life on default, and stop thinking that you know, because if you think you know, then you really can't grow. Most people want control of a situation, and too often, more than not, you either have control or you have growth, but you can't have both. Felt that? You can either have control or you can have growth, but you can't have both. And some of you out there listening to me right now, you're control freaks. If you're going to run a successful campaign, you can't micromanage everything. You can't micromanage. It's one of the first lessons I learned about change is, back off or change your management style, And so if you're a control freak, your campaign is going to be railroaded. I'm just going to tell you that straight up right now, right here. There are those who seem like they can't help it. They can, to get the right counseling, set in some therapeutic sessions, and face the truth about themselves. But we all have control issues. We all have control issues by virtue of the dominant environment that we emanate from. The dominant environment that you emanate from dictates psychosocially that you reproduce what you are used to. Felt that? Reproduce what you are accustomed to, or reproduce something a slight hand above what you are accustomed to. For those who grew up in poverty, now want to be wealthy, want to be a slight hand above project mentality. Felt that right there? You see what I'm saying? But control has to be relinquished. Control has to be relinquished because we're dealing with people, even the ones we love and are in perhaps covenant with. We have to relinquish control only because you cannot change other folks. It could be your kids, it could be your husband, your wife, your uncle, your auntie, your grandmother. You can be a change agent. You can be a person that aggregates and agitates people to want to do better. But you can't change other folks. You can't change them. You can try, you're going to fail. They may change momentarily, And even with our children, we only are facilitators. We're facilitators. We're stewards of time, energy, and resource that we may point them to the way. But they still yet form their own way. They're still making their own decisions. They're going to make their own mistakes. And we have to create a culture that understands, though, that you don't have to swim in a pool of mess don't have to swim in a pool of mess to have the blessing. You just don't. You can have a good life, retire early, become a world figure, become a global impact through your organization or your corporation. You understand? So I want to go back to that point, is that if you gotta have control, you're going to derail your campaign. Now, I'm telling you something, just between you and I've taken control of my White House. You see. Now, that doesn't mean that there are not executive branches of which I must interact. You get where I'm going. We're using the political scene to simulate how our lives should be better and how we run our lives. It doesn't mean that I don't have to answer to anyone. It doesn't mean that I'm not accountable and responsible. It doesn't mean it, but it means that I stand on the principles that I believe in, and I'm not going to back down. And some of those principles surround basic spiritual foundation. What goes around comes around. I'm not interested in sowing seeds that I'm going to, I got my issues now. Oh yes, the coach has his issues. You just don't even know. One of them is I work too much. And I've learned to step away from the mic, the console, the keyboards, the computers, whatever it is that I'm doing, and just enjoy quiet time or television show. I love television, things of that nature. But my point to you is this: we cannot continue to control the outcome of others. You can't control the outcome of others. You have to. You stand your ground on principle. I was saying earlier, spiritually based principle. For me now, that's me. I ain't talking about you. I'm talking about me. That's for me and my house. And serving the Lord means something different to me than it does to most people. It's totally different. We have religitized everything, but no, it's totally different. Totally different. I subscribe to one of the things that our mentors taught us back there in Ohio, that part of that service to the Lord, quote unquote, is service to humanity. And you can't serve humanity the dogma of your philosophy, per se. You serve humanity in the capacity of need. My community is no longer defined by just where my residence or my business is. My community is the circle of influence now. It has changed, it has evolved over the past several decades. Service to my community, to you. Well, I know a lot of scripture. I know a lot of Greek terminology and Hebrew terminology. Know a lot about a lot of things. But remember what I said. Knowledge makes you arrogant. It is the wisdom of the matter that makes you impactful. Too many people know they can't grow. Too many people want to control. Then they don't grow. And they wonder why. Your campaign has to be centered upon the freeness of your own will, the flexibility of your own will, to indulge in principles beyond the sensational or beyond the sense realm or beyond the sensual. And that's, as I view it, part of our cultural problem, is that everything that we do is based on whether we feel good or not, whether we feel it. I don't feel like honoring my mother. I don't feel like honoring my wife or my husband. I don't feel like staying in this. I don't feel like talking about conflict resolution. I don't feel like dealing with any problem. That's why you don't have no skills to deal with no problems, because you always walk by your feelings and never deal with any problems. And so the problems lay dormant until you're ready to deal with it. And if you don't deal with it, they come back to bite you in the behind. They come back to haunt you. Because what we ignore eventually will be restored in the circumstances of our lives. If not in ours, it would be repetitive in the lives of those we care about. So the campaign for change also requires there are times when it requires hasty decisions. You can't take forever and a day to decide to run for more of a life. You can't do that. So, well, when I get this together, I'll run for more. Or when I stop doing this, I'll run for more. No, you run for more now. You get your campaign together now. You line up your advisors now. Who can I trust? Who can I believe in? Who believes in me? Who's been giving me messages all along that I should run for the White House? I'm not talking about the White House in Washington. I'm talking about the White House of purpose and destiny. I'm talking about the White House of perfecting who you're supposed to be. I'm talking about the White House of being instead of doing. I'm talking about the White House of legacy, to where when you're passed from this life, the longevity of what you believe in transcends generations, transcends cultural vibes and cultural sensationalism. You see, today is a random day. We're just talking about whatever the heck is on my mind. Because we've tried to share this series in a three-dimensional intelligence. Three-dimensional intelligence. We've tried to disseminate this series in a three-dimensional intelligence. First, the componential intelligence, if you will. You know, the components of the intelligence, where we process the strategies, identify certain things, and think them through and work to solve them. The componential. I don't know why I always have to struggle with words that have all these, you know. I love words, though. My father told me when I was young, he said, "You're black, you're young, and they say we don't this and this and that, and you're going to study. If I don't see you with a book, you're going to pay the price." So I always had a book. And sometimes I would finish the book early, and he would say, "Why don't you have a book?" I said, "Well, sir, I'm finished with that book." Didn't say it like that, but you know what I mean. Well, if you run out of books, you grab the dictionary until the next book is assigned. That's why I love words. My first magazine was the Foreign Policy. And I was reading Foreign Policy in the seventh grade. You know, and it's a hard read for a seventh grader to read the Foreign Policy magazine. Google the name Foreign Policy, you'll see what I mean. Then we've tried to share this information in experiential intelligence, where we can transfer what I've learned and maybe compare old and new information. You know, what we thought was all has become more because we have combined the old and the new information for experiential intelligence. Then we've tried to share this entire series in a contextual intelligence, three-dimensional intelligence. The contextual intelligence says that we want you to have this series applicable in your day-to-day life. And we may come back and revisit some of the topics in this 30-day series, so that you'll have a chance to have some more practicality, if you will, in putting these things. But one thing is sure, that I don't want you to walk away from this listenership without understanding. I am the common denominator. If it's to be, it's up to me. And if you're a Christian, okay, you know, whatever faith you are, it's up to me and God, but it's still up to me, because God says we're co-laborers with him. Co-laborers. You see, co-laborers with him. Co-laborers with him. I had a thought or two also that I want to share with you, that it might be kind of interesting. I was looking through I think you deserve to know this, that there are two types of pressures that I believe exist that we must be aware of as we're forming our campaigns and getting ourselves ready for change. And change is a campaign. It takes time. It takes designated seasons. It takes others in our lives to be instigators, aggregators, cultivators, all that good stuff. And change, the change campaign is not the transition. It is the bus toward the transition. It is the journey toward the transition. And then once we reach the transition, the entire process starts all over again. The entire process, that's where we fail right there. We fail because we don't repeat the process for success. We fail because we don't repeat the process. We get cocky, see. We begin to boast too much about the transition after achieving the transition. Same way with marriage. I mean, so you're so in love. You're so in love. So in love. So in love. You know, for those of you that have found love, Valentine's Day is coming up. And for those of you listening on demand, Valentine's Day has passed. But it may be your Valentine's Day. You found love. But even love has to be tested. All the good things that we find in life are tested to see if we hold the ingredients to keep them dear and near. You find joy, it will be tested. You find love, it will be tested. You find peace, it will be tested. You find Christ, that will be tested. To see everything in your life that is good is tested to see whether or not you are integral. If I am integral enough to still want this. And after sending out what I'm going to share with you here in a minute, these magnetic signals, I could go deeper into that, but I'll just say magnetic signals for now. After a while, it is established in the heavenlies. It is established in the earth realm, if you will. It is established among humankind that I will not be moved. Though the earth be shaken, though hell and high water come, I will not be moved. The two things that I wanted to share with you, I had just was, drinking my coffee and going through, and I was cleaning up something, and I was going through a notebook that I did a lot of writing in. One of them is the atmospheric magnetic pressure. The atmospheric magnetic pressure. So I just want you to think about that. The atmospheric magnetic pressure. Atmosphere, magnetic, and then pressure. And the second one is the environmental magnetic pressure. There's two different types of pressures. And you want to ensure that you are being personally as integral as possible. Some of the lies that we live, we cannot live down. We just simply have to reestablish the truth where the lie is. I know you didn't believe. It's hard to believe that I said that, but a lot of us are living lies and pants on fire and all that. We're living lies that maybe were told to us, how we're not good enough. You thought I was going to talk about some lie, some scandal. No, I'm talking about the scandal inside of us. Lies that we're told that you won't amount to anything. That was a lie. It was a lie. And you can't live that down, but you can replace it. Lies that say you're not handsome enough, beautiful. Lies that says that you're all that in a bag of chips, and you're so focused on the external breast, butt, and thighs, and calves that you forget there's a whole person inside of you that the mirror can't comprehend. And those that care about you and love you in your life, that have been your mirrors, have been telling you can do better, you can act better, you can respond better, you can do this differently. You break the mirror of covenant relationships all day long in an effort to keep the physical mirror of a physical appearance that don't amount to much, because at the end of the day, it's only the core us that really exists, not the hair, the teeth. It's the chorus. The chorus is from the inside out, not from the outside in, man. So I just wanted to leave those two things with you. Atmospheric magnetic pressure. What are you dealing with when it comes to atmospheric magnetic pressure? Atmosphere are the things you can't control. Environment, the things you can. How do you respond to the atmospheric magnetic pressure? How do you respond to the environmental magnetic pressure? Just something to think about. Environmental, the things that surrounds me, because culturally or religiously or psychosocially or economically, this is a part of my pool. Whereas the atmospheric pressure is the region, perhaps where I live, the region, the regional culture, the national, the Western, you see, you're talking about the United States, the Western culture or the regional demeanor, see. How do I respond to those two key pressures? Atmospheric pressure, things we can't control at all, and environmental magnetic pressure. Magnetic being that it's going to pull you one way or the other. And hopefully by the time the wind blows and the rain falls and the snow lands and the lightning flashes, you'll be found standing. The weatherman has, in my final push for today, forecasts troubled days ahead. Troubled days don't have to always mean you lost your job and you had a breakup and there was an accident or an incident. Troubled days mean there's the decisions that you're going to have to make that will change your life forever. Troubled days can also mean that there are conditionings and mindsets and paradigm shifts that need to be made to ensure that your children's children's children have what your children or you can never imagine. Troubled days ahead means that the atmospheric pressure will mount higher than ever before, and the environmental pressure, magnetically speaking, will affect you seemingly even more. And it is up to you now to condition yourself, prepare yourself, and move beyond religious jargon, if you will. Please, if you can, do yourself a favor. The God that we know is but a minuscule of understanding. The God that we know is but a minuscule of understanding. There is more to him than you ever could imagine. And for those that don't believe in God at all, trust me, the divine source has no bottom. The divine source of which you are not connected seemingly through your conscious mind has no bottom. Just because you don't believe does not mean the source is not there. This has been a great ride. I am so proud of you tolerating me and putting up with my antics and my philosophies and all of that. But listen, I have had a load of fun. I'm probably going to take a break for about a few days. I may put some things on the podcasting platform that may be unrelated to what we've been used to for the last 30 days. But whatever happens, keep it locked on SIBN Radio. Follow us wherever SIBN Radio or SIBN Television and Radio is found. And remember that you are the common denominator in every situation. Well, until next time, take care of yourself. I want to ask you a question. Who's coaching you? Who's asking you the tough questions? Who's telling you, man, you're the common denominator to all of your issues and challenges? Who's telling you, man, all day long you become the magnetic pulse that attracts to you both good and bad? I want to be your life coach. I want to be the one that cheers you on to the finish line. I want to be the one that you ask the tough questions. And it doesn't mean that I have all the answers, but that means that you have a partner, someone who believes in you, not the you see right now, but the you can't imagine, the you that you are to become, the you were destined to be. I always say we both need the positive and the negative. It's not enough to have the knowledge of the matter, but we must have the wisdom as well. For wisdom settles it. And that's what I want to offer you as you join me on the Coach's Corner. I want to offer you the wisdom of the matter. Maybe it might be relationships, talking about our campaigns for more, for life, the dark room for our subconscious, our spiritual journey. Whatever it is, I want to be there to encourage you, to build you, to challenge you, to cheer you on to the finish line. I'm qualified to do this. Why? Because I'm you.
You're listening to the sounds of your lifestyle improvement station.
Hi, this is VJ Washington calling from Atlanta, Georgia. You're listening to the Lifestyle Improvement Station, SIDN Radio.
Hi, my name is Sonia Claiborne from East St. Louis, Illinois, by way of Carruthersville, Missouri. You're listening to the Lifestyle Improvement Station, SIBN Radio.
What's good?
Turn it
It's
up.
your boy Joe coming from Snellville, Georgia. You're listening to the Lifestyle Improvement Station, SIBN Radio. Y'all turn it up.
Hi, this is Head Boss calling from Richmond, Virginia, and you're listening to the Lifestyle Improvement Station, SIBN Radio. Y'all turn it up now.
Chapel, College Park, Georgia, in the house. You're listening to SIBN Radio. Turn it up.
You're listening to the sounds of your lifestyle improvement station, changing the way we live. SIBN FM, powered by Select USA TV.